Mr. James William Jackson Sr., the first African American automotive repair shop owner and operator in Manchester, North Carolina. Manchester is now known as the Great Spring Lake. He was an operator for 56 years before his health caused him to close the shop. He opened his shop in 1949 with a drive and determination to help those in his community and surrounding areas with any car repairs that were required. James William Jackson opened the garage, Jackson's Garage, on Vass Road in Manchester, North Carolina. He was a great man. He was a great auto repair mechanic.
In keeping with Black History Month, Bethel AME Zion Church is featuring Mrs. Ethel Athena Lucas Belton. On April 12, 1923, Ethel Athena Lucas was born in Manchester Township of Cumberland County, North Carolina, as the seventh of 8 siblings. Her early education began at the school where Bethel AME Zion Church currently stands. In 1941, she graduated from Ann Chestnut High School with the honor of being valedictorian. The following year, she enrolled in DeShazo's Beauty College in Durham, North Carolina, as a full-time student. Upon graduation and getting her cosmetology license, she returned home to begin working in a beauty shop in Fayetteville, North Carolina. In July of 1947, she joined in marriage to Harry S. Belton, who was then in the U.S. Army. At the end of the Korean War, which was 1953, Athena and Harry built a home where the current Circle K gas station is located. With 3 children to care for, Athena applied for and received a business license to set up a beauty shop in Manchester, which is, of course, now known as Spring Lake, North Carolina. Miss Athena, as she was called, began practicing her craft in her home until her shop was constructed in 1955. When her original business license was granted, she became the first Black entrepreneur in the Spring Lake area. From 1955 until 1964, she owned and operated Belton's Beauty Shop. In 1964, the shop was closed, and she took a job in the Fort Bragg school system as a dietitian's assistant. From there, she advanced to Fort Bragg's dental clinic as a dental assistant, from which position she retired. She was a member of the Fort Bragg chapter of the Dental Assistant Association. Athena was a lifelong member of the NAACP and was extremely active in the desegregation of the schools effort in Cumberland County. She was a member of the Ladies Auxiliary of VFW Post 6018. She was secretary of the Civic Center organization. She was vice president of the Ladies Auxiliary of the VFW Post 9883. She was a historian for the Sandhills Family Heritage Association and a lifelong member of Bethel AME Zion Church. On Friday, January 7th, 2011, at the age of 87, Miss Athena made her transition from this life. Thank you.
Dr. Leo Edwards Jr. was born in the little town of Aurora, North Carolina, the 6th of 7 children of sharecroppers. He likes to say his family was po, not having enough to even be called poor. Dr. Edwards, as we know him affectionately as Brother Edwards at Bethel AME Zion Church, matriculated at Fayetteville State University. He went to college, and his determination and ambition to succeed at all costs made him thrifty and wise. During his years at FSU, he worked as a dishwasher in the Cook Dining Hall and as a janitor in the ACOC building. He had to work at least 100 hours monthly, earning 45 cents per hour in order to earn the $45 necessary to pay his tuition. He invested his time, energy, ambition, and meager resources to his advantage. Graduating from the illustrious university in 1966, he received a fellowship to matriculate at Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he earned his Master of Education with concentration in mathematics, all while teaching in the Philadelphia public school system. One master's was not enough. Dr. Edwards earned a Master of Arts from Goddard College in Vermont. At our church, Bethel AME Zion Church in Spring Lake, Dr. Edwards served as musician for the junior choir and photographer for all the clubs and organizations in the church. He also served in various places as Sunday school teacher, musician, trustee. He even organized the 100 Men March from Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church. He's always called upon to be an inspirational speaker at different places for graduations and celebrations. He received the key to the city of Spring Lake from former Mayor Chris Ray in 2013. Education is very important to Dr. Edwards, and so there he's decided to move to Logan, Utah, and to pursue his doctorate in mathematics education at Utah State University, and returning to Fayetteville State after finishing his doctorate. While he was at Fayetteville State, Dr. Edwards was director of Math and Science Education Center. He created a Saturday Academy for students in grades 6 through 12, serving the Spring Lake and Fayetteville and surrounding areas for more than a decade, and the enrollment for the Saturday Academy grew to approximately 300 students. While at FSU, Dr. Edwards served additionally as professor of mathematics, dean of arts and sciences, vice chancellor of academic affairs, and assistant to the chancellor. Dr. Edwards has written grants and proposals for over $10 million. He's also called upon to read and evaluate. He has been noted as a distinguished graduate from Fayetteville State University and Utah State, and the North Carolina of Teachers of Mathematics recognized him for his excellence in mathematics education for the state. Upon retiring, Dr. Edwards continues doing workshops, readings, and writing proposals until around 2018. Now he stays busy reading, writing letters, studying music theory, tending to his garden, playing on the computer, traveling to Aurora. This is Living Black History from Bethel AME Zion Church.
Lillian Edna Murchison Jones, born July 30th, 1928, to Bertha Jane Wilson and Marvin Sonny Lucas Sr. She was educated in Cumberland County school systems. She was one of 14 graduates from Ann Chestnut to graduate after completing 12 grades, the class of 1947. She was also the proud valedictorian of that class. After high school, she married the love of her life, Lindsay Allen Jones. Through their union, 4 children were produced: Brenda Louise, Gerald Allen, Myra Laverne, and Cheryl Shanae. Although she worked at jobs such as Pat Howard's variety store, she found a career and love as a secretary of then Manchester Elementary School turned Mayrudd Williams. After her retirement in 1990, she devoted herself to what she loved, her church and her community. She was a member of Bethel AME Zion's usher board. She was a stewardess or a steward. She was deaconess, and she was a ladies' aid member. She loved to cook and service her community. She was a taxi for those who needed a ride, and her doors were always open even though she was rarely home. She also found pleasure as a Mary Kay consultant in her spare time. Fun fact about Lillian, she always loved to sing. You never heard her in the choir, but if you were fortunate enough to come by her house on a Sunday afternoon, then you could hear her humming or singing her favorite hymns in the kitchen. Lillian Edna Murchison Jones.
Music is the foundation. It is what opens the service. It's what carries the service, with the exception of the word, and it is what ends the service. I have come to understand that what I do is a God-given gift. It is said that if you have a gift and you don't use it, God can take it. Somebody that they're traveling wrong.
So yeah, tell me about the place where you actually grew up. Was that
Right here,
right on this very spot?
right here, within a few feet,
Okay.
one way or the other.
So tell me about it. What it was like growing up here, and how it has changed since when you were little.
When I grew up, it was wonderful. There were a lot of other children in this area my age, and I was an only child, and so I was always in somebody's house playing with somebody's children all the time. And you belong to your family, but everybody took care of everybody else's children, and we respected that. If you did something wrong at Miss Fanny's house, Miss Fanny took care of it. You didn't have to worry about going home for Mama to do it. She took care of it, and then Mama took care of it after you got home. And it was just one of those things. But now, everybody is seems like they're into themselves. They aren't. I don't say they don't care, but there's a tendency to back away from situations, with other people's children and stuff. It's not like it used to be. You could say anything to anybody's child to set them straight now and then, and now if you say something to somebody's child, you might get cursed out or you might start a fight. That's just the way, that's just the way it is. You have to have second thoughts before you say anything to somebody else's child nowadays. And I think that's part of the problem.
Do you think that reflects some kind of change in the community? Has the sort of sense of community changed from when you were little?
Yes, it has definitely changed. At least I think so. Amy, don't you think so? It definitely has changed. It really has changed.
What changed?
People don't care about each other as much, I don't think. I remember when I was little, if somebody was sick in the community, it wasn't anything for this one to go over to take care of them or to take food. That was just it. It was the caring part of the community. And you just don't see that anymore. You really don't. And I miss it. I really miss it.
What happened?
The change of the times. That's the only thing I can say. Change of the times. That was just it, as far as I know.
I am Jared Payton, son of Dr. Denise Payton. My mother's love for music pans all the way back to her childhood. During the 1960s, segregation was still in place. However, by the time she entered the 6th grade, integration had been implemented. My mother attended Pine Forest Senior High School, and the music teacher at Pine Forest saw such exceptionality in my mother's singing that she offered her a position in the campus's highest vocal ensemble. During my mother's time at the school, she was the only African American in vocal ensemble. My mother was also a frequent soloist. In 1975, she graduated from Pine Forest Senior High School with an acceptance to North Carolina A&T State University. My grandfather did not know how he would be able to afford to send her to this university. However, my mother was awarded a full-ride vocal scholarship to North Carolina A&T State University. Upon arrival to North Carolina A&T State University, my mother's soprano voice showed such exceptionality to her professors that she performed as a starring lead in her first opera at the young age of 18, Amal and the Night Visitors, where she played the mother, December of 1975. During her journey at North Carolina A&T State University, she won critical acclaim on the school's campus. She was the most recognizable soprano voice on campus and the most frequent soprano soloist in the university choir. She graduated as the only voice major in her graduating class, 1979, from North Carolina A&T State University, and she went on to place 3rd at the Metropolitan Opera auditions. In the 1980s, life found her back home in Spring Lake, North Carolina. My mother performed in many shows abroad Cumberland County's area. My mother played Glinda the Good Witch in the production The Wiz at the Cape Fear Regional Theater. She also had many runs at the Fort Bragg Playhouse, where she played one of the fairies in Sleeping Beauty. She played the haunting soprano in Jesus Christ Superstar, and she played Noah's wife twice in The Green Pastures. She was also a frequent soloist for the Christian Science Church here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And my mother, it was at that time that the late Reverend Erskine Lowe approached my mother and told her, "You need to come back home. You need to come back to where you belong and run the music at Bethel AME Zion Church." And that she did. It was in 1987 that my mother was put in place as Minister of Music at Bethel AME Zion Church. She has been the Minister of Music at Bethel AME Zion Church for 34 years. It was at this time that the music department grew immensely under her direction. However, before she became the Minister of Music, she was the assistant to the late Bobby Lockett, where she co-directed the E.J. Austin Gospel Choir, assisting him. My mother went on in the 1990s to form a community ensemble, a community choir, the Heritage Restoration Chorale, an award-winning ensemble of singers from all different backgrounds, all different denominations. My mother has taken them to the historic Constitution Hall, the historic Carnegie Hall, the White House on the Ellipse, Cozumel, Mexico, Nassau, Bahamas, and many more. They are an amazing group of singers. My mother decided in the late 1990s to further her education. She received her master's degree in 1999 from Fayetteville State University and went on to receive her doctorate in 2014 from Walden University. She worked in the school system, the public school system, for 28 years. More than that if you count the 80s, but from 1990 to 2008, she was the music teacher at Spring Lake Middle School, which is her most recognizable job in the public school system. She went on to become the director of choral activities at Fayetteville State University in 2008. And she is still there to this day. She's been Faculty Member of the Year 2019, 2020. She also is an author, and she wrote the book Discouraged to Encourage, which is on sale now. I'm so proud of my mother. Many look at her as just being a musical giant, a musical pioneer, a diva this, diva that, but she is a prayer warrior. My mother is a mother first, and I've watched her put many of her dreams on hold for the sake of taking care of my sister and I. My sister and I have also followed in her footsteps as musicians, and we are so proud of her, and we will continue. Keep soaring. And when you think of Dr. Denise Payton, don't just only think about her musical history or how she has broken so many barriers as a soprano soloist and a choir directress in this area, but think of her as, more importantly, a woman of God, a woman who is family oriented, a woman who puts it all on the line for the sake of keeping family together, which was taught by her own parents. We love you, Mom. Continue to soar, continue to spread your wings musically in this area, and continue to be the best mother in the world, which I always say. I love you.
Hello, I'm Marvin Lucas. I'm a lifelong member of Bethel AME Zion Church. I've been active in the church for more than 70 years. I'm the son of Marvin Sr. and Rebecca Lucas, and the grandson of Fannie Ray Lucas, all of whom were lifelong members of Bethel Church. I have been active for many years in terms of community service. I was a charter member of the Cumberland County Recreation Council, and I was a charter member of PNC Board of Directors and the PNC Bank. I love to do what I do. I taught school for 6 years, and I was an administrator for 27 years. I have always tried to strive to do my best at whatever was accomplished. Most of all, I've been very fortunate to have been married to Brenda Lucas for better than 52 years. And we've had 3 children, a set of twins, and an older son, all of whom have done well in life. We love what we do, and we're the proud grandparents of 8 grandchildren. Life has been wonderful to us. I had the fortune of serving as the first Black elected official in the town of Spring Lake in 1977. I also had the pleasure of serving as the second Black mayor after the election of Billy Manning in the town of Spring Lake. I additionally had the privilege of serving in the North Carolina General Assembly, where I've been there continuously for 20 years. I still enjoy life. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy watching my wife work in the church, watching my grandchildren be successful in life, and I look forward to continuing to serve in Bethel AME Zion Church. Thank you very much.
I am a business entrepreneur. My name is Marva Lucas Moore, and I'm the proud founder, owner, and CEO of Michelle's Hair Salon, started in 2004. Lucas Moore Realty and Property Management Incorporated, established in 2013. With Lucas Moore Realty, it's a family affair. My husband handles the back end of the business, and I handle the front end of the business. Together as a team, we manage a total of 13 licensed real estate brokers. In celebration of Black History Month, we are super excited to announce that out of the 13 licensed real estate brokers, 2 of them are our children. Darius Moore received his license at the age of 21, and Kendall Moore, she received her license at the age of 19. I am also the founder and CEO of Hoops and Dreams Basketball Showcase. This is a basketball showcase where we invite children, boys, and we had girls at one time that travel from all over the world to play before college coaches right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I am also the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization called Community Heartbeats. With Community Heartbeats, we give back to the community where we see there's a need. I would like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. And it states, "Success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. Michelle Obama.
James D. Murchison Jr. is the fourth of 7 children born to James D. Murchison Sr. and Larice King Murchison of Spring Lake, North Carolina. When James was young, he and his brothers worked with their dad at part-time jobs, cleaning the post office, First Baptist Church, and housing quarters at Fort Bragg. Little did he know that he was going to be taught the importance of multiple streams of financing entering a household. As he got older, he realized he was really receiving on-the-job training from hard-working parents that contributed greatly to his strong work ethic. A graduate of Ann Chestnut High School in 1962, like many young men after graduating in the South, went north seeking better employment. But after 3 months in Washington, D.C., James returned to Spring Lake, to his good old Southern way of life he loved and missed. James always plans each day. There is nothing idle about the life he lives. His motto is, you gotta have a plan. Beginning at an early age, he recorded all of his expenditures on a daily basis. He was just as dedicated in saving for that rainy day. Once home, he enrolled in 1964 at the Harris Barber College in Raleigh, North Carolina, graduating in 1965. Came back to Spring Lake and working at the Spring Lake Barbershop, but he wanted a larger clientele. So a few later, he began working at Burton's Barbershop on Murchison Road in Fayetteville. James is very driven, and seeking better employment opportunities in 1966, he accepted a position at Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals in Raleigh. He also began to cut hair at the East End Barbershop on Poole Road from 66 to 72. But in 1986, he opened Murchison's Barbershop on Trawick Road, where it remains today, 34 years later. Still driven, BJ's Commercial Cleaning Service was established in 1984, and he has been doing business across North Carolina for 36 years. James gets up every day with a plan. So it's not surprising that he started East Coast Specialty Group with his wife, Betty, investing in residential properties. In 1999, James retired from Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals after 33 years of service. However, Mallinckrodt contracted with BJ's Commercial Cleaning Service for 7 days a week until 2011. And when James didn't renew his contract, so in essence, James worked for Mallinckrodt for 43 and a half years. As a little boy, he lived in a cinder block house on a dirt road in Spring Lake without running water, followed his plan, prospered because of his hard work, and was able to provide employment opportunities for others. James, my brother, and his family reside in North Carolina. James Duncan Murchison Jr., Black History Living Fact.